What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Jerome coming to you with the review for Love and Hip Hop Miami. This is season 2, episode 3, and it's titled Familiar Feuds. Oh God! Like if VH1 and it's gonna keep, I don't know why they changed the time from 8/7 Central for Love and Hip Hop Miami and 9/8 Central for Black Ink Crew Chicago. I just don't know why they changed it. Cause so now we got Black Ink Crew coming on at Texas time, 8 o'clock, and then Love and Hip Hop coming on at 9 o'clock. So now it is 10 o'clock at night, and here I am filming a fucking video, which usually my videos are up by now. So we're gonna get through this shit. And like I said, I don't know if this is gonna be a permanent time or not, but I think it is, and I just don't know why it's a permanent time. And if they're gonna put something else new on Wednesdays, I just don't know why they did this, but whatever. So let's get started with the video. All right, so this episode wasn't like a whole lot, but I think I'm gonna start out with gunplay because there wasn't really much to gunplay. So since Gunplay had that whole talk with Trick, he's been thinking about things with Kiara. So he is going to meet with Kiara, and it's not just him that's meeting with Kiara. He has a kitten with it. And I'm like, ugh. And I say because I'm allergic to cats. So don't nobody take offense to that. I just say to cats because, like I said, allergic to them. So I'm gonna say But they're cute and cuddly, just not cute and cuddly to me because I can't be around the little motherfuckers, unfortunately. So then they get in the car with one another, and Kiara was like, I hope you don't think that by you giving me this cat that makes everything okay. And it made me be like, okay, what, we good, let's get back to being in a relationship with each other. And then he was like, nah, I don't expect that. He's like, I'm gonna put in that work to get you back. And it kind of went left for a little bit because she was like, she can be with anybody, and why would she want to be with him after all the stuff he's been put her through, which I understand completely what Kiara's saying. So I'm not gonna fault her for feeling the way that she feels. So then Gunplay says, what, I got some business out in New York, why don't you come out there with me? And she's like, why should I come to New York with you? And he basically saying it's just a fresh start for those two. So we gonna see what goes on between Gunplay and Kiara. Like I said, it wasn't really much of they scene, so that's it. All right, so then we have this scene with Jessie. So we see Jessie, she's doing some comedy, and I'm like, it's kind of falling a little bit flat because it really wasn't funny. Because she was talking about how people told her because she's Haitian that they were eating cat, and then she asked her mama, was they eating cat? And she said her mama said something, and she still was like, I don't know if we eat cat or not. And I'm like, boo, boo, boo. I'm like, that shit ain't even funny. Like, because I didn't understand what she was saying. I mean, I got what she was saying, but I didn't catch the joke. I didn't catch where the joke was supposed to be funny. Like, I was, maybe I'm a little slow. I don't know. Maybe it was just me. Let me know if you caught the joke, but it went right over my motherfucking head. So, whatever. So then like I said, I don't know if I said or not, but Trick and not Trick, Trina and Tip. It's a lot of T's on this show. You got Trick, Trina, Tip. And is that it? Yeah, Trick, Trina, and Tip. Trick, Trina, and Tip. Trick, Trina, and Tip. It's a lot of T's. So like I said, Trina and Tip are with her. So wrong bitch, wrong person. Didn't mean to say bitch. Forgive me. So then Jessie JoJo. What you would think I'm high, but unfortunately I'm not high, nor am I drunk. I'm just tripping right about now. I guess because it's getting late at night too. So what am I at? So yeah, Trina and Tip, they talk about Bobby, and then Trina's talking about how Bobby opened up for a show here for her here in Texas, and I'm like, what show did he open up for her in Texas? I didn't even. I know she was here for Juneteenth weekend, but that was like a whole ensemble of Love and Hip Hop cast members. So I don't even know when Trina was here. Maybe she was here in, like Austin, San Antonio, Houston. She could have been here in Dallas. I don't know. Interesting. And then, she's talking about how her team has booked some stuff for him and whatnot. And then, then they talk about the brunch that they had, and Trina wasn't there. Then Jessie, she wants to bring up this whole thing about Amara and her manager again. And again, Jessie, like I think every YouTuber has said it last week. Your idea is not original, boo. So it's not like she stole something that was copyrighted, patent pending, or anything like that. Like, that shit ain't original. Like, there's a lot of motherfuckers that do that shit. Like we've named Sister Circle Live, The View, The Talk, The Real. Who else does some stuff like The Red Table Talk? It's just a lot of shit people that do that same kind of thing. So it's not like something original. And then, Trina was talking about Amara's manager, how he has so many clients, but it seems like lately he's just more so focused on Amara and he's sidetracked. And, then Jessie talks about, after the whole brunch, she met up with Amara and JoJo, and JoJo was supposed to play mediator, but she ended up getting into it with both Amara and JoJo. And I'm like, no, you got into it with JoJo because JoJo threw the drink in your face. Amara had apologized to you. You didn't accept Amara's apology because you said that Amara didn't offend you. So technically, you just got into it with JoJo. But I'm so over Jessie. If this is going to be her storyline going forward, this whole Amara thing, none of it makes fucking sense whatsoever. So then, Trina was talking about how Bobby told her that Shay Francine Frinsky, Bucky Johnson, wants to meet up with her and talk with her. And, she don't know how to feel about that because, Joy is her cousin and she's going to have her cousin's side. But Tip is like, what? I feel like you should meet up with her and just have a conversation with her. So I guess Trina going to be like, what? Let's sit down and have that conversation with the bitch. See if she's civil at this point. All right, so now I'm gonna get the one thing out of the one person that I don't give the fattest of fucks. I don't give a fuck, a damn, or a shit about her, who is Helga Pataki, aka Veronica Vega. So we see Helga. She is out there in Atlanta. She telling us she's working with Polo the Don. I'm like, oh, okay. How much you paying him, Mona? Because you can't make me believe that he is really taking his time to work with her, of all people. So, when she gets in there, the A&R rep is there, somebody else is there, and it's a big business meeting because they supposedly are putting a lot of money into, the Vega column with absolutely no return. And when that woman, he asked her, how much money have we put into this? She said 1.9 million. I said, Mona, a lie is a lie. No matter how you flip that shit, spin that shit, a lie is still a motherfucking lie because you can't make me believe that they put $1.9 million into Helga motherfucking Pataki. Absolutely not. Not a chance in hell. I wish. The fuck? And then Polo the Don is like, what? I sold my house for your dream. I said, bitch, again, a lie is a lie. No matter how many ways you tell it, spin it, flip it, do whatever you gotta do. That bitch is still gonna be a motherfucking lie. As my girl Roxanne say, a lie don't care who tell it, and that is the truth. A lie is a lie is a lie. But you know what? It ain't really a lie because it's a part of Mona's script. So it's like, what, Polo? I need you to say, we gave her $1.9 million. Bitch, for what? Then I need you to say, oh, I sold my home for you. And then she gonna pretend like she pretend to cry. I'm like, again, Mona, I don't give a damn. I don't give a fuck. And I sure as hell don't give a shit about anything that's going on with her. Like, move on. Like, why did you even bring her and Stuart Little back? So then we see this scene where she is meeting with her grandma and her sister. And I looked at the grandma and I'm like, oh, okay. Didn't she say last season that her grandma was black? Am I the only person that missed that? Like, she said her grandma was black, right? But this grandma don't look nothing black at all. Like, bitch, shut the fuck up. Then she get this sob story about her grandpa, and I'm like, oh, just playing the violins. Like, yep, girl, I ain't paying you not a bit of attention. And so I guess basically what she's trying to tell us is she wants a better life for her family. I'm like, okay, next bitch, because thank you, bitch. We don't give a fuck. Next. All right, so next we'll talk about JoJo. So we see JoJo. She has this client of hers. His name is Alvin. Alvin. I just want to say that. So since her dad cut her off, her other store it closed. So now she's trying to do it on her own. And like I said, she have a client there. She's styling him. I guess that's what you want to call that. And then she's in walks her mom, and her mama, is so her mama is advocating for her to be with Helen, and she's telling her mama about the whole beef that she has with Jesse, because when she met up with Jesse talking to Amara, she said she was disrespectful and she threw the drink in her face, and her mom was like, God damn, girl, you throwing drinks in people's faces. And she also tells her mom about the whole beef between her and Prince and Bobby, how Bobby told her that he felt like Prince was using him. And her mama, like I said, her mama wants her to be with Alvin because her mama likes Alvin, and she feels like when it comes down to Pleasure P that she just won't be happy. So then we also see JoJo with Pleasure P. So, Pleasure P is telling JoJo how, they are right now they're at square one, but he feels like they should be at square number 10. And, she's talking about she pulled away from him because, of all the stuff that happened with her daddy last season, taking her store away from her, her picking the sides of her mama over her daddy. She lost a friend that was close to her, and she lost her grandmother. And, so she flaked on him because they were supposed to meet up, and, he didn't respond to her for a whole week. And as she was like, that's mad childish, which it really is. And he agrees to, and he also says, but if you had told me something like that, if you told me, I'm just having a hard time right now, I would have came to see you. I would have, sent you some flowers or whatever. Now, the funny thing that I caught was when JoJo told us how she and Pleasure P supposedly got together. So supposedly Bobby is the reason that they're together, because Bobby was in the studio working with Pleasure P, and Pleasure P told Bobby to call JoJo down to the studio. I'm like, who these 10 degrees of separation, Mona? Like, you really be working hard on these scripts for these shows. Like, you need to work hard on the script up there in New York, because New York is kind of flailing just a little bit. Not a little bit, a lot. Yeah. All right, so next we're gonna move over to Chaotic and Prince. So we see Chaotic. He's at a tattoo shop. He's getting a tattoo that's right here, retouched. I'm like, oh shit! Like I couldn't put no tattoos on my face. Like, oh god, that's nothing but bone. So I know that shit hurts like a motherfucker. So he also tells us that once again he was shot 17 times. I'm like, god damn, nigga, is your body made of steel? Like, is it made of bulletproof? Is it a bulletproof skin? You got your skin bulletproof? Like, what the fuck? Like, how can anybody withstand 17 bullets? And like I said, he told us it was an ambush. And Prince. Like, you are really trying to get an Academy Award for this, because you keep going over this sob story about you losing your car. So we got a little bit deeper this time. He was in jail for petty theft, suspended license, and a whole lot of other shit. I'm like, Mona. Don't nobody believe Prince with this storyline that he was in prison or jail or whatever, because he didn't even mention this at all last season. So who the fuck believes it? Not me. Not anybody believe it? Y'all believe it out there? Because I don't believe it. So then we had this thing where Prince and Chaotic are in the studio, and then we have Stuart Little there. I'm like, really, Mona? In one whole episode, you've managed to make me look at Stuart Little and Helga Pataki. Fuck you. That's all I gotta say. Fuck you. Um, so, they're talking about music. Stuart Little trying to give Prince advice about, how people are gonna perceive him trying to do this music. Basically, he's telling him, ain't nobody gonna take your ass seriously what you trying to do this music, which is the truth. We ain't taking you seriously. We ain't buying it. We don't want it. We don't need it. Return it to sender. So then he starts, they, doing this little beat, and he kind of freestyles to it, and I'm like, it wasn't trash, but it wasn't good either. But what it was better than what that shit Sydney Starr keep doing in Love and Hip Hop New York. Like, can somebody tell Prince to just give Sydney Starr just a little bit of tip? Like, god damn, that's sad. Prince is doing better than Sydney Starr. All I gotta do is shake my head at that one. Like, Prince is better than Sydney Starr. That's not saying a lot. So then he also tells them how he has this song or a little dance that, he wants to make poppin'. Did he say it was called the Poppy Shampoo or something? Whatever the fuck it was. It might catch on. I don't know. Whatever. Yeah, this episode just wasn't really all that so much. It was almost, I think this felt like a filler episode because there really, literally was nothing that happened in this whole episode. Nothing really happened until the Joy, Trina, and Francine Frensky stuff. So yeah, this was basically a filler episode because nothing really, like I said, nothing happened. Okay, so the show opens up. We see Bobby. Bobby is filming a video for his song. Forgot what the name of the song was. So we do see Trina. She's there. We also saw Shay, Francine Frensky, Bucky Johnson there, and we saw Tip there. And he's talking about how Tip and Shay, Francine Frensky, Bucky Johnson are supporters of his. Which I'm like, okay, Bobby, if you say so, but. And then we got this, we saw Francine in her interview, and I'm like, God, Mona. I even tweeted about it. I'm like, what the fuck is up with that wig on her head? Like, that wig, it was the wig, it's the makeup, it's the outfit she got on. Like, it all looked trash as fuck. So, when Bobby and Francine and Tip are sitting down talking, he says JoJo was supposed to be there, but because of all the drama that happened between him, JoJo, and Prince, JoJo is not there. And then Francine had the audacity to say that JoJo looks like the angry bird, which she kind of does. No offense. But I'm like, bitch, you want to talk when you sit here and look like a anteater. Like, really? Okay, if you say so. So then we see Trina. She comes up with Alvin to talk to Bobby. And Trina has this label that I forgot what the name of it was. Rockstar something. I forgot what the name of it was. But, she's, Bobby is asking Trina, what's going on between her and Trick right now? What's going on with the TNT album? She says something to the effect that Bobby thought that, the music was coming. She said, no, ain't no music coming. Like, I'm done with Trick. Like, it's over. It's a wrap. It's done. We're not doing anything together. And, that's when they talk about, her thing that she's doing with Alvin. Not Alvin, but her dude Raymond. And, before Trina even came, and let me back up just a little bit. So before Trina even came over to where, Bobby then was, when Francine saw when Francine saw Trina, she was like, you know what, let her leave. I'm like, well, damn, bitch. You still spooked about what happened last year, but you was in the wrong for the shit that happened with you and Joy. You could have just sat down and had a conversation with Joy instead of trying to snatch Joy up by her wig. Like, she fights with women for no reason when it's usually the man that you need to be fighting with. Because we saw this with her season 1 of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta when she fought with Erica Dixon over Scrappy. Like, why are you fighting her over him? But whatever. That's her motive. That's her MO on these shows. Is to fight the women and not the man. Which is ridiculously stupid when the men are the one that's clowning your ass and the women know nothing about you. But okay, with this one, I'm kind of jumping ahead of myself just a little bit, which I thought about it. So we saw this scene where Trina was meeting up with Francine. So they sit down and they talk and whatnot. And you know, this time Francine is completely calm, and I'm like, oh, so where was this energy at last season when you got into it with Joy? You know, like I said, you come at the woman, not the man. I just really truly don't 100% get it. And you know, Trina kind of thinking the same thing. Like, where was this person at last year when you got into it with Joy? Like, I wish this person had come here. Like, you could have at least, she could have even pulled Trina. Trina said you could have pulled me to the side, and you know, just said, hey, you know, you just have a conversation with her to the side, and you know, basically Trina tells her like, you get into it with the women, and you know, it's the men that's done you wrong. Yeah, because basically the whole thing is Pleasure P is the reason that Shay is in this beef with Joy, which it is, and it's true. Like, but the thing is, like I just said, she needs to be like, you know what, you the one that made me look a fool. Why am I finna sit here and get into this argument with Joy, somebody who I don't know? When you supposed to be my man, you supposed to take up for me, you supposed to do this for me, but you ain't doing shit for me. Like, she makes herself look like a fucking loser. Like Roxanne says, she takes the L all the time. That's all she does is take nothing but L's. Like, why do you have beef with the women over the men? And then, you know, so then Shay says that she had an issue with Joy because, you know, Joy and Pleasure P were friends with one another. And, you know, when Shay wanted to meet Joy, Pleasure P would never introduce her to him, so that made her feel like maybe there was something different, you know, something more going on between Pleasure P and Joy, which nobody and their mama believed that there was more going on between Joy and Pleasure P. Like, let's be honest with that. But even if that is the case, you ask your man like, yo, why you not, like, if this your best friend, if this your homegirl, why you ain't introducing me to her? Like, is there something that I need to know? Is there something you're not telling me? Instead of coming at the woman, come at the man, and you can bypass a lot of drama and bullshit. But to stay on these shows, that's what she got to do: amp up the drama, amp up the beef and whatnot. Okay, and then lastly, so we had this meetup with Joy, Trina, and Shay, Francine, Frinsky, Bucky Johnson. So, you know, they sit down, and when Joy gets there, you know, you can just look at Joy's face and her demeanor is like, I don't want to be here. I don't want to see this bitch. I don't want to be around her. Like, you know, if I could, if this big ass table went in between us, I'd pop the hoe in the face. And then you can just easily read that off of Joy. And, you know, so they sit down, and basically Joy's like, you know what, I'm sitting here, but you know, when it comes to this bitch right here, like, I want to know that she's not gonna come at me with the same shit that she came to me with last year. So she's just hoping things are on different terms. So, you know, this is where Francine telling Joy that she wants Joy to own up to the shit that Joy did, and she's owning up to the stuff that she's done, which, you know, I mean, I guess I get where Francine is coming from. I in a warped way, I get where she's coming from. It wasn't Joy's place to tell Pleasure P that she saw her at Trix. Was it Trix? Where were they at last season? Where Joy saw Francine with Scrappy. Speaking of which, you know, because Francine kept saying, you know, you told my dude that you saw me with some nigga, and I'm like, oh, so we gonna say some nigga. We not gonna even mention the fact that it was Scrappy. That Scrappy was a cast member of Love and Hip Hop Miami last season. So, you know, we just gonna completely bypass Scrappy. But okay, Mona, I see you, Mona. I see you. So, you know, that's when Francine wants to go off into this whole thing about, you know, because Joy was like, you know, he's my friend, and I told my friend what I saw, and she was like, some friend he is, because, you know, he's always talking about how he can fuck you if he wanted to, and I'm like, wait a minute, what does that have to do with anything? Like, I'm mad confused. Like, why are we bringing that up? Like, shut up. That don't even make sense. So, you know, and also Joy, she just didn't feel like she was wrong because she said she does that with all her friends. I don't really know how I feel about that. Like, it's cool to tell your friends certain things, but you don't want to insert yourself in a relationship. Like, that ain't got nothing to do with you. And Trina even said that to her. That's something that ain't got nothing to do with you. So stay the fuck out of it. But at the end of it, Joy did say, you know what, she didn't have any malicious intent. But, you know, Francine is like, but it went there. She's like, you know what, and for that I do apologize. And I'm like, thank God. But in between it, they were arguing, and I'm like, why are we arguing over Scrappy? Why are we arguing over Pleasure P? Why are we arguing over niggas that don't want either one of y'all, and it's not with either one of y'all? But, you know, Mona said it's in the script, so they had to read the script and go from there. But that was Love and Hip Hop Miami. Like the video, leave your comments, subscribe to my channel, and I shall see you guys tomorrow. Because it's tomorrow's Thursday, and How to Get Away with Murder is back tomorrow. So I'm excited to see my girl Annalise motherfucking Keating.